Hey everyone, welcome to Officer Adda 247 class. So once again I am with you so hearty welcome to all the bankers in this early morning session, and I just want to say before to proceed further, just like this video, hit the like button as much as you can, and just subscribe the subscribe the channel, as well as I want to say just share this video to your friends, to your colleagues, so that maximum number of our bankers can join with us in this session. Before to proceed, I would like to say, if you are new on the Officer Adda 247, subscribe the channel so that you can get regular update from our side, and download the Adda 247 application so that you can get everything at a one place, right? So today is another session, and I'm just hoping that everyone just getting the confidence over and over the days, because we actually discuss the module B MCQs, and we understand the basic concept of related to all the chapters, right? So what I am just requesting to you, just use your pen and paper, and if you're finding anything is important, just pen down that, because in the multiple questions we are going to discuss a different concept, and that is most important for your exam point of view. So let's start today's class. Before to start, our target batch that is just started, and I just want to say that just enroll in the target batch, and this is at a very minimal price. Like, you only have to use the code Y422, and with this code you're going to get the big discount on the batches. And just after this video I will just explain you how to enroll the batches as well. So in this batches, multiple things you are going to get. A very important thing you are going to get, that a disciplined study, right? When I talk about your accounting class is going to be start from the 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So that means 9 to 10:30 p.m. that time, then you just going to grasp a very important things. So that means that I just want to say that you have to just enroll the batch for just clearing the examination, not only with the 50 marks but also with a very good marks like 70 plus 80 plus marks. Okay, so in this target batch, that you are going to get the 84 mock test, 82 ebooks, as well as a 130 hours live classes. And that live classes, if you by chance if you miss the live classes, then you will also get the recorded classes after completing the live class. Okay, so let's start today's session. And the very important thing I also want to say, that this offer is only for today and tomorrow, that you are going to get the flat 80% off with the code of the Y422. The only thing that you have to do, that use the code of the Y422 and visit the adda247.com, and you are going to get the flat 80% off. And if you are enrolling through the application, so you will get the extra 1% off, that would be the 81% off. And now your examination only 50 to 60 days away, so this is a very right time when you should just enroll the batches. So winners begin early, and I'm hoping that everyone is a winner who is just watching the video here. So let's start the session with the very first question. Just read the question and just try to solve by your side, because the concept I already told you in the previous session, and this is a next question of that concept. So just understand and just try to answer, give by your side. So what would be the answer of this? Just quickly tell me what would be the answer of this. A withdrawal of the cash from business by the proprietor should be credited to. Okay, so whenever we talk about like a withdrawal of the cash from the business, and in the accounting, the very important thing that you have to understand, in the business there certainly be a owner, right? There certainly be a form of business and a company, right? Suppose that the owner name is a X, and the business name, or say company name, or say organization name is a XYZ Limited, and this X is actually withdrawing the cash from the business. Okay, due to business entity concept, we understand the proprietor as well as a business, suppose that the company XYZ Limited, this Mr. X is owner of the XYZ Limited. That means we have to understand, due to business entity concept, both are the different entity. Okay, that means what is the cash for this Mr. X, that would be the capital for this company XYZ Limited. That's why you often see that whenever we are talking about any firm check, any business company, any company's check, you will find there in the check there would be a stamp, a certain stamp there. Okay, that is actually significance of this company, right? So now a withdrawal of the cash from the business by the proprietor should be credited to which account? And that is a very important question. Okay, so we have to understand whenever we're talking about like any kind of the owner, okay, and he just withdrawing the cash from his business, so we have to understand there will be involvement of the very first account that would be known as a drawing account. That actually we understood, right? Now the second thing we have to understand, where if you talk about the cash is withdrawing, okay, the question is a withdrawal of the cash. That means cash is just going to withdraw, and if the cash is just going to withdraw from the business, then we have to understand that another account that would be involved here, that is a cash account, right? So whenever any proprietor, any owner withdrawing the goods or withdrawing the, withdrawing the cash, so the what account should be debited there? There should be debited the drawing account. So drawing account should be debited. But now the question is, if the cash is just going to withdraw, right? And if you are just talking about like in the previous example we discussed, where a withdrawal of or say owner actually withdrawing, or say annual owner just actually what I say, withdrawing the some goods of amount. Okay, so if I'm just talking about like owner is actually withdrawing the some goods of amount of, let's say, 50,000, 15,000 rupees. Okay, so here actually involvement of the goods. So here what account should be involved? Here would be it would be here purchase account would be involved in this type of the question. But in this question you have to understand a withdrawal of the cash from the business. That means there is an involvement of the cash here. So the drawing account should be the debited and cash account should be the credited. I'm hoping that everyone just understanding this concept. So the correct answer that would be the C here. All right. So this is how we solve the questions, and just trust me that you are going to get a multiple questions based on this debit and credit entry, and on this concept definitely you are going to get the question in the examination. And the very important thing I just want to tell you that whatever the questions I am discussing, that all just framing your foundation for just understanding the accounting, right? So whatever the concept I'm just discussing here, just pen down that, and that will be very helpful in your preparation for the accounting subject. And I'm hoping that if you're just watching this session regularly, so definitely you're going to get a minimum 60 to 70 plus marks in the examination, right? So now just understand another question. So balance method is a most commonly used method preparing trial balance, as it facilitates the preparation of the final accounts where, okay, and the multiple options are given, like all laser accounts are showcased, debit or credit column are totaled, balances are transferred, or the last option both A and B. Okay, so what should be the answer of this question? Just tell me quickly that what should the answer of this question here. Do you know what we understand by the balance method? Anybody can tell me what we understand by the balance method here? Anybody can tell me what we understand by the balance method? Whenever we talk about the balance method, actually it is a one of the method that is known as a trial balance method. That is known as a one of the trial balance method, and which is just known as a net trial balance, because one trial balance that is a gross, another one that is a net trial balance. Okay, so balance method or say net trial balance is the most commonly used method of the preparing the trial balance, as it facilitates the preparation of the final accounts where the multiple options are given, all laser accounts are showcased, debit or credit columns are totaled, balances are transferred, and last part that both A and B. Okay, and whenever we are getting these kind of the options like both A and B or all of these, we actually thinking that this should be the correct, right? Okay, and sometime or say 80% of the time that also that definitely would be the correct option there. Okay, so if we're talking about the balance method or say net trial balance method, so we have to understand that it actually, what when we talk about the trial balance, what is the purpose of the trial balance? The very first purpose, that because you have to understand what is the processing of this, like from where the accounting is actually started. So we are just talking about the journal. Okay, so what is the purpose of the trial balance? That whatever the transaction is recorded, that is duly recorded or not, okay, in the journal. After that, it is correctly posted into the ledger or not. Okay, because after that journal we can understand that after the ledger we prepared, that means we are just going to post the transactions in the ledger account. Okay, after that we just prepare the trial balance. All right, so trial balance actually is a kind of the statement. So if we have to just understand, trial balance is actually the statement which actually explains the arithmetical accuracy of the your transactions. Okay, so if I talk about the balance method is the most commonly used method of preparing the trial balance, as it facilitates the preparation of the final account pair. So the correct answer, the very first correct answer, that should be the all laser accounts are showcased. So whenever we talk about the net trial balance method, all laser accounts are showcased, and the second is the debit and credit columns are totaled. Okay, we understand, and this is so much understandable that while preparing the trial balance, the debit balance should be equal to the trial debit balance should be equal to the credit balance. And on that basis actually we also understood the classification of the errors, rectification of the errors. And this is a very important chapter for your module B, that is a trial balance. Okay, so the correct answer, that should be the part of part D, that is all laser accounts are showcased as well as debit or credit columns are total. That should be the correct answer of this question. Okay, I'm hoping that everyone just understanding this, right? So now just read the another question here. This is also very nice question. I'm hoping that everyone just understanding this, just say yes, and just just like this video also. Okay, just hit the like button as much as you can. Just hit the like button here. For if you just enjoying the session, if you just finding that it is we are just giving a correct content here. So if you're just for appreciation, just hit the like button as well. So if we talk about the Mr. X trial balance that was showing difference of the 5,000, uh, just tell me what would be the answer of this question. What would be the answer of this? I'm hoping that everyone just understanding whatever I'm just going to convey here. So the question is actually the Mr. X trial balance was showing difference. And okay, just tell me one thing here, that what component we keep under the debit side and what component we keep under the credit side. Can anybody tell me what would be what component we keep under the debit side and what component we actually keep under the credit side? Anybody can tell me what would be the answer of this? Okay, let's understand. Let's understand. Okay. So, if I talk about like Mr. X trial balance was showing difference of the 5,000 rupees. So, the very first thing that you have to understand, what component we keep under the debit balance and what component we keep under the credit side. Okay. So, when we talk about under the debit side, we actually keep the all the assets, all the what? All the liabilities? Not all the assets and all the expenses. Okay, and under the credit side we keep all the liabilities as well as incomes and gains. All right, as well as we have to understand that all debit balance should be equal to the credit balance as well, right? This is a very basic thing of the trial balance. Now if the question is Mr. X trial balance was showing difference of the 5,000 and debit side exceeds, what we understand by the debit side exceeds, that means we have to understand this is a debit side, this is the credit side, and this is actually this is actually just showing a difference, and that is actually just greater than the 5,000 rupees. So we can understand that suppose that this credit side it is greater than, that is a plus 5,000. While checking of the total sales register, he found that the total is overcast by 2,000 rupees. That means the sales, like if we're talking about the sales is actually overcast by the 2,000 rupees. What it means that sales we actually keep under the credit side, because sales actually generate the income revenue right? So like we have to just put the sale where, we have to put the sale here under the credit side. So if I talk about that, this is overcast by the 2000 rupees, right? So now the question is that 2000 actually overcast under the credit side, and after that we are just talking about that the debit side is actually exceeding the credit side by the amount of the 5000 rupees. Now you can just tell me very easy way, if we just say here that that means this is actually the wrong entry here, this is actually the wrong entry here. Okay, now now if I say that by very common sense, you can understand here, if this side is a 5000 rupees and this side by mistake is a plus 2000 rupees, that means debit side definitely would be exceeded by the 7000 rupees. Okay, so that would be the correct answer. Now just understand very important thing here. If I'm talking about this is a debit side and this is a credit side, all right, and I'm saying that the debit side is actually the exceeding with the 5000 rupees, and by mistake we actually just overcast the credit side with the 2000 rupees, that means this is actually the wrong entry that we actually recognize. So the very first thing what we'll do, we actually debit the sales with the 2000 rupees, all right. So that means that this 2000 rupees that would be gone under the debit side. Now you can understand that this side actually just exceed by the 5000 rupees. Now after this, now after rectifying this error, you are again going to get the 2000 rupees more. That means this side would be exceed by the plus 7000 rupees. That is the correct answer of this question. I am hoping that everyone just understanding this wonderful question, right? Okay, so oh sorry that I just not saw here. So just understand here that this is a debit side and this is a credit side, and this 2000 rupees actually, if I talk about the under the credit side, the this 2000 rupees is posted, and to nullify this error we actually just have to debit the 2000 rupees here. So that means now you can understand that this debit side, because after debiting this 2000 rupees for nullifying this error, the debit side would be exceeded by the 7000 rupees. All right, so I'm hoping that everyone just understand now. Now understand another question, that is question number 4, and just try to solve by your side first. That is closing stock in the trial balance implies what? Whenever we talk about the closing stock, so what we understand by this like closing stock, then just give me a minute, just a minute. Okay, okay. So if I say that like in the trial balance, if the closing stock is going to be appear, so it what implies that? Okay, so suppose that we have to just understand, suppose that there is a firm and there is a firm's warehouse where the some kinds of the, for if I talking about the financial period, so there is a already a some stock which is known as a opening stock, right? So suppose that there is a opening stock of the 250 items. Let's understand with the example here, and after that there would be some sale here, but at the end of the financial year there is a some leftover stock that remain out from the sale. Okay, so if I say that the closing stock that remained of the if I say that would be suppose at 150 items, okay, and the individual prices of that should be the multiplied in this, so that is known as a opening stock and that is known as a closing stock, right? So we can understand that clearly 100 items that is sold out from this warehouse, which is known as the kind of the sale. So opening stock, which is if I talk about in financial year, so the starting period of where you have in where you are just going to start like opening stock. Okay, this closing stock will be the opening stock for the next financial year. I'm hoping that everyone is understanding this concept. So closing like this, here the stock is starting and this is a closing stock. Like after the sale, the leftover stock that is called as a closing stock. Now the question is, closing stock in the trial balance implies what it really implies. Okay, that we have to understand. So if I talk about the trial balance and the closing stock, there is a talk about the closing stock. So my dear friend, I want to say here one thing, that this closing stock is already appeared in the opening stock. Okay, so if I say that this closing stock is already appeared in the opening stock while just maintaining the trial balance, So if we once again the closing stock just recorded, okay, so that would just impact in of the double entry, okay, double entry of the stock, that would be affected like this way. So the correct answer, that is, it is adjusted in the purchase account. Closing stock in the trial balance implies that it is adjusted in the purchase account. That would be the correct answer for this question. I'm hoping that everyone just understand this concept. I think everyone just understand this, the opening stock and the closing stock. And after that, because 250 items from the stock is started for this financial year, and 150 items that is for the end of the financial period. So if I'm talking about, we are making the trial balance. So if we again just going to record the closing stock, then it would be considered as a double entry of the stocks, okay. So that would impact it like this way. So it is adjusted in the purchase account. That would be the correct answer of this question. Now next question. Next question is taken from the bank reconciliation statement. Now, once again, I would like to say, for any kind of the questions of the bank reconciliation statement, the very first thing that you have to consider, the what the balance is given. Suppose that a bank passbook, that is, look the first line, just read here, that a bank passbook shows credit balance of the 6,200. What it means, that it means that a passbook balance is given, and if the passbook balance is given, that means the very first thing that we have to write here cash book, and we have to write here cash book and passbook in the form of the table, okay. So if I say that the passbook shows credit balance of the 6,200, so just write here under this the cash book with the negative figure, because it is showing the credit balance here. So it is a kind of, a bank passbook shows a credit balance, that clearly means that it is a kind of the overdraft balance, okay. It doesn't mean that, you have to understand, it doesn't mean that that it is passbook credit side balance is given. It doesn't mean that. It is a mean that a bank passbook shows credit balance. That means a bank passbook showing the overdraft balance, okay. So because whenever we talk about the bank reconciliation statement, we have to understand this is all about a customer's cash book and customer's passbook, okay. So that actually compares, or say that actually reconcile cash book to the passbook and passbook to the cash book, right? So now if the bank passbook shows credit balance of the 6,200 rupees, so we have to understand here that the very first thing, that because it is showing the overdraft balance, so just write here with a negative figure, that is 6,200. After that, the very first thing that you have to do, you have to just write the conditions that is given. Condition is given, interest is amounting to 200 rupees has been crediting in the passbook. So bank actually pays the interest. So if I say that bank pays the 200 rupees as an interest, but customer is not aware of that transaction. If customer is not aware of that, that means in the cash book this transaction will be reflect as a zero, okay. Now because the cash book, we have to compare the cash book to the passbook here. So what you say, that cash book balance is a greater than or lesser than the passbook? So the correct answer, that is cash book balance is a lesser than the passbook. So that's why we can just write here that is minus 200. Now you can just see that there are multiple options are given, and in the very different way. And this is this is a thing of the JAIIB examination, that you are going to get the questions in a very different way, where you should strong with your basic concepts. And that actually on that we actually are all our faculties just working on that, okay. That is your basic concepts. So if I say what would be the answer of this, so to reconcile same with the cash book, the answer that should be the deducted, okay. So I'm hoping that everyone just understanding this, okay. Now next question. Which of the following does not affect the agreement of the trial balance? Just tell me quickly, tell me what would be the answer of this. Quickly tell me everyone here, what would be the answer of this, that which of the following does not affect the agreement of the trial balance? Anybody can tell me what would be the answer of this? I just want to see that how many ones are going to get going to just tell me what would be the correct answer of this. So look, whenever we talk about the trial balance, the very first thing, that what I told you, that the debit balance should be equal to the credit balance. All right. Now the question is what? which of the following errors cannot affect the agreement of the trial balance. And in you through this one question, actually examiner just checking your knowledge for the errors as well as checking your knowledge for the basics of the trial balance. And this is a very important as well as this is a very good question for you. So the very correct answer that I'm getting from everyone here, just understand, if I'm talking about the error of the principal, okay, whenever we talk about the what we understand by the debit and credit balance of the trial balance, that total of the debit balance should be equal to the total of the credit balance. Now the very first thing that, you know, suppose that here in only two things, like I want to say here, suppose that you want to record in one side transaction, suppose that you want to just forget, suppose that you forget to record the debit side transactions, but you actually recorded the credit side of the transaction. So in that case there may be some there would be some mismatch happen. Okay, so in that condition it will affect the agreement of the trial balance. Now just read one by one every error here. If I talk about the error of the principal, the error of the principal is actually the error where you actually record the revenue as an expense and expense as in revenue. Okay, so it is the error of the principal where we are talking about you actually posted the transaction in a wrong account, but you actually posted, okay, and like in the same like debit and on the credit side. So that means this will not affect the agreement of the trial balance. So this is the correct option. Complete omission, suppose that you just omit to record the debit as well as the credit side of the transaction. So this will also just do not, this will also just do not affect the trial balance. Now the third is a compensating error. That means the error where one error already compensate the another error. Suppose that you forget to record the 40 rupees here and you also just forget to record the 40 rupees here. So that means this is known as a compensating error. So in all the cases you can just understand that this will not affect the total of the debit balance as well as the total of the credit balance. So that's why the correct answer of this, that is D, that all of the above does not affect the agreement. It just please pen down that, because based on that you can get the question in the examination. Okay, so I'm hoping that everyone just understand this. Next question, which of the following would not affect bank reconciliation? Just tell me what would be the answer of this. Whenever we talk about the bank reconciliation, it is all about, it is what? It actually just reconciled cash book to the passbook, or say a bank statement. Okay, bank statement of the, of the customer. So, what things it is actually going to affect the bank reconciliation? That means any kind of the transactions that is directly related to the bank transactions, because from that you actually maintain the cash book as well as the passbook. So if I talk about the first condition, that is given the dishonored check, because it is a dishonored check. Suppose that the customer is actually record the transaction, because in the bank reconciliation statement customer record immediately the transactions. Okay, so if I say that dishonored check, so dishonored of the check actually can maybe understand as, when bank actually dishonored due to some mismatches happened in the check, so that bank actually dishonored the check. So it is actually related to the bank conditions. So that actually affect the dishonor, that actually affect the bank reconciliation. Now the second point, that is a discount receive. So if I talk about the discount receive, that is a kind of the gain that customer get. Okay, it is nothing related to the any kind of the bank transaction. So that would not affect the bank reconciliation, because in the bank reconciliation we only understand that is all about the customer's account in the bank. So for reconciling that, like customer just maintain the cash book, if there is some kind of mismatch happen, so the customer can get the can just understand that. Okay, so if I say that cash book and the passbook or say bank statement, so this is discount receipt which is not related to any kind of the bank transaction. Now the bank interest, suppose that bank is just, paying the interest, so customer not usually aware of that. So that could be the reason that affect the bank reconciliation. So that also be the reason your check not presented. Suppose that customer is issued the check, and whenever the customer issued the check, so customer just immediately going to record that transaction. And suppose that customer issued the check to someone and someone just do not present it at the bank for clear for just getting the payment of from that. So that in that condition, that also affect the bank reconciliation. So the correct answer that would be here, that is discount received. Okay, so now understand another question, which one of the following statement is correct? What would be the answer of that? Just quickly tell me. This is a very simple. Yes, that is the correct answer. That is the income that is equal to the revenue minus expenses. Okay, so if we have to understand income, in the case of the revenue, we always consider the revenue, whatever we are getting the revenue on that, what expenses that had done. Okay, so suppose that we are just taking an example here. Suppose that we are getting the 400 rupees of the revenue, for example. Okay, on this, from this product, on, but on that product we actually the real expense of this, that is the 300. So we can understand that revenue actually related to this expense. This is a very important thing I am telling you, that suppose that this is any kind of the product, and from this product you are getting the 400 rupees. So we are considering the expenses, like for that, like what from that we are getting the revenue actually. Okay, so that is considered as a income. So if I have to just find out the what is the income here, so you can definitely understand that is 400 minus 300, that would be equal to the 100. So that would be equal to the income is equal to revenue minus expenses. That would be the correct answer for this question. The trading, next question here, the trading and profit and loss account is prepared under which attribute of accounting? Okay, and there are multiple options are giving, like summarizing, recording, classifying, and none of these. So you have to understand the trading and profit and loss, that also we understand, that also you can understand. This is all about, we are going to understand in the chapter of the final account. And whenever we talk about the, these all are the giving the phases of the accounting. And I just explained you, there are four kinds of, or say there are four main types of the basic accounting phases you are going to understand: recording, classifying, summarizing, as well as the interpreting. Okay, so if I talk about the recording, where you actually just going to record the transaction; classifying, where you just sort it, or just make the similar group of the items, okay, in a one account. So in the summarizing phase, we actually understand the trading and the profit and loss account that is prepared under the summarizing phase of the accounting. So that would be the correct answer here, that is summarizing. So I think this is a very understandable for everyone. Like if we just going to record the transactions, and after that the need of the making like similar type of the transactions to under one group. Suppose that we are talking about the cash transactions. Okay, there can be transactions from the different persons. Okay, and that is actually recorded in the recording phase of the accounting. But now just need that, now what we needed, that just make the another group of the transaction that known as a cash transactions, where all transaction that is related to the cash is going to be recorded. So that is known as the classifying phase of the accounting, right? Next question. 25,000 is spent by firm for repairs of its building has been debited to building account. Pass the journal entry for rectification of this. Anybody can tell me what would be the answer of this question? Okay, just quickly tell me one thing here, how to make the debit and credit entry if the 25,000 rupees that is spent by the firm for repair of its building. So we always have to find out which accounts can be possibly included here. So you will tell me the one account that would be included here, the one that is repair account, would be debited, because cash is just going out from the business. What we understand by this, debit what comes in, and credit what goes out in the in terms of the asset, because we are talking about the cash. Okay, so in that scenario, cash is actually going out from the business, and if the cash is going out from the business, then we can understand the cash account would be the credit here, right? So repair account should be the debit and cash account should be the credit. That would be the correct entry. Now just tell me one thing, that if I have to make the debit and credit entry, so the very first thing that we will write here, that is repair account, and under the credit we will write the cash account. So this is the correct entry. But what exactly happened? Exactly happened is, which is wrong, that we just debited the building account. Okay, we debited the building account, and the cash account would be here, that just same for the credit side. Now look how to rectify this, how to rectify this kind of the error. So the very first thing, that like whatever you recorded in the wrong side, like if we talk about the wrong side entry like debit and credit, under the debit side you are writing the building account, that is wrong. So the very first thing that you have to do, just nullify this error. That means nullify this error, like you have to credit the building account, because you by mistake the debit this, so you have to credit this. But and you have to debit the repair account. So if I just write here that is repair account, that should be the debited, which is right here, and building account credit. Okay, so basically you are just nullifying this error, okay, which is just making a wrong error. We just make the wrong error here. Okay, so if I talk about that, what should be the debit and what should be the credit, so you can see that in both the terms, like the right side and the wrong side, the cash is always there on the credit side. That means this side is the correct. Okay, so for rectification, this what we have to do, we have to just debit the what, we have to debit the repairs account and credit the building account. That would be your correct answer for this question. So just tell me what would be the answer of this. That is correct, that is option number D, that is debit repairs and credit the building account. So this is how you can understand we solve the questions, and that kind of the basic concept we actually understand. We actually just teach you in the paid batches, like in the target batch. Okay, so congrats to all the bankers here. There is a very one important announcement from our side, that felicitation ceremony that is going to be held on the 1st of May. Okay, at the 12 p.m. So the very important thing, you have to be present on the given venue here, and Adda 247 just going to reimburse your third AC tire ticket. Okay, so congrats to all the bankers who just passed the JAIIB SEBI examination, and hit the like button on this video as well, because what you have to just understand, this ceremony is going to be held on the 1st of May at the 12 p.m. right? So now I'm just going to show you how you can enroll in our target batch, right? So this is also very important to understand, because there is some kind of the problems you face while enrolling, right? So what you exactly have to do, just visit the adda247.com. Just a minute here. Okay, so first visit the adda247.com, and after that you have to go to the JIB CIB section. Okay, and in the JIB CIB section you can find the JIB CIB Mahapack also, as well as the JIB. So go to JIB section, and here you can find the multiple batches that is actually the running in the bilingual as well as the English medium batches, and you can also find the individual batches. Okay, so if I talk about this English medium target batch, you have to just go to just in the buy now section, and here you can find everything, like the study plan, what the study plan, according to which study plan we are going to just teach you here. Okay, and after that you have to go to the buy now section, and under the buy now section you have to use the code. Just just listen one thing, that you just do not need to pay the full amount, right? You have to use the code, that is Y422, and with this code you are going to get the maximum discount. And now you can see that that price is so much reduced, and this is a real good thing that I am just also watching with you guys. Okay, so this is how you can enroll in the batches, and you can also apply the code in the mock test ebooks, right? So like you can also just enroll in the multiple things, right? So that's all for this session. Now I just want to tell you, if you're just liking our efforts, liking our content, do not forget to hit the like button and just share this video to your friends, to your colleagues, so that max number of our bankers can join with us. And so thank you so much everyone joining me in this session.